been a minute. It's been a minute. I ain't came in through coffee time in almost a month and a half, at least 2 months, at least a month and a half, right? But here, coffee time. Try to get back on schedule, man. It's been a lot going on, lot going on. But just wanted to come through this morning, tell everybody peace. Ask everybody how they doing, making sure everything right. Uh, just thinking about everybody. I know it's a lot going on, a lot of emotions. Like I said, a lot of stuff, man. But I just wanted to come through and wish everybody peace, man. It's been a minute. Coffee time. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I was just at the Wawa getting some coffee, man, and I seen this older brother, 71 years old, man, out of Chicago, and we sat and rapped for about 10 minutes, man. Really good conversation, man. He said he was making a run to drop off this truck upstate New York, and then he got about 2 more runs from Chicago to wherever, and then he gonna retire down in Mississippi. He originally from Mississippi. Family moved to Chicago 50 years ago, and he said he cashing out, man. He said he gonna close it down. He bought some property in the last 20 years, and he gonna go back to Mississippi, man, and retire. And that's what's up. But I was, just wanted everybody to just be aware, man. A lot of stuff going on. You got the government shutdown going on. You got a whole bunch of little pockets of violence going on. Brother Lone Wolf always reminds, when we do Pat Talk, he always reminds people, be careful in them large gatherings and them theaters. You always got to be mindful, man. It's a lot of people out here, man, that it's making some real bad decisions off of emotion, or they not mentally stable, man. They want to bring harm to people or whatever. But just be cognizant of what you do and how you choose to react off of your emotions. Because a lot of stuff always have triggered us, melanated people. But a lot of stuff is designed to trigger us as well. And when you start to realize and you start to get a better understanding of the design and the plan to trigger us based off of emotions, it is, as some people say, it is best to just stay still and not get so triggered off of that emotion, because you'll wind up doing something or making a move or a bad decision that really, in the grand scheme of what you got going on, don't got nothing to do with you. It's just emotion. The Arabs got a phrase, man. Sometimes we can listen to these, good proverbs or phrases that these other cultures use. But the Arabs got a phrase, man, and they call it tie your own camel. Meaning, man, in the midst of some of this stuff that goes on, you got to tie your own camel. You got to worry about yourself and your family and your loved ones. You can't always worry about everything else that's going on. You got to make sure your stuff in your area is tight. Your family is tight, I remember I was telling Lone Wolf a while ago when I first moved, some security stuff I was doing at my house and why I was doing it, So I was making sure at that time, making sure I was secure, making sure the crib was secure, man. You got to make sure your situation is secure. You got to tie your camel. So just want to roller coaster, man. Government shutdown. That's all the DEI thing that apply to us, and what I mean it don't apply to us. We're not even the target group that one way or the other, you know. And one day I'm gonna give a show on it, really deep dive into it and explain it, because it's really crazy how, you know, some, you know, coon black leaders have put us in some real trick bag positions by putting us as the face of a lot of the stuff that goes on. And in reality, the stuff, the grand scheme of things, stuff ain't got nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with us as a whole. But because their grift plays on the emotion of us and the grift of trying to say they represent us, that we become the face of what's going on. We become the little face of what these people got going on, and become the, you know, because they grifted in our trauma, they grifted in our pain, and we got to understand that. We got to understand that a lot of these people is running the con, man. They running the grift, man. You know, my mother used to be a big Robert Redford fan. You know, he had passed away a couple weeks ago, and you know, one of her favorite movies was The Sting. Right? You know, him and Paul Newman was running the grift, and that's what a lot of these leaders is doing. That's when these black leaders running around here talking about they represent black people. No, they don't. They grifted on black people's pain and trauma, our legit trauma. Don't get me wrong, our trauma and our pain is legit. But people are using our trauma and pain to line their pockets and not do nothing really transformative to uplift not only the community as a whole, but even the community within their close proximity. So we got to understand the grift and understand what's going on, you know. But like I said, I just wanted to come through this morning and, you know, share a little bit of time. You know, this weather breaking, we're about to go back into that winter season. I'm a big winter guy. I don't particularly care about the summer. I'm a winter guy, so I'm looking forward to, you know, the cold weather, the hoodies, y'all know I wear hoodies a lot, but I'm looking forward to the hoodies, the coats, the scarves, the hat, all that good stuff. You know, I live in an area that get a little bit of snow. Well, not a little bit, nice amount of snow. So I'm looking forward to the snow and all that stuff, and you know, so I just want people to be mindful, man. You know, don't get caught up in the emotion of everything that's going on. You know, be cognizant of your surroundings. Don't get emotionally caught up with nothing. You know, that's going to jeopardize you and what you got going on. And stay focused, man. Stay focused on what you got to do. Like I said, it's been a lot going on. So hopefully we'll be joining you guys. Hopefully we'll be having a Pat Talk real soon again. You know, there's been a lot going on. Dr. Short's mom had passed away, so rest in peace to her. And, you know, may the Creator comfort him, his loved ones during this tough time. Look, man, chop it up with y'all soon, man. Y'all take it easy.